Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel once again, and today we are going to talk about the downfall of Workhorse. Just kidding guys, don't worry, Workhorse is not going anywhere. Let's just say why there is this huge dip in the stock price of Workhorse, and let's just discuss some of the updates regarding the USPS contract, and then let me tell you why I'm still bullish on Workhorse. So yes, guys, I know it's quite sad to see Workhorse falling down like this with this momentum, and for all the investors out there, it's quite sad to see this. And also today as well, at the time of making this video, Workhorse is down by 4 to 5%. And the two main heavy reasons behind this massive sell-off, what I can think of, is the first being that the investors might have panicked based on the news that Dwayne Hughes sold his 50,000 shares of worth $1.3 million. And not just Dwayne Hughes, but actually the other employees from the company as well, who had a considerable amount of shares, like the director and the vice president of the company as well, had been selling their shares since past 1 or 2 months. But this information was not, let's say, prominent, or it was out, but it didn't come into the attention of the investors until now when the CEO sold his shares. So this information was also then coming to the attention of the investors, and this might have created extra panic. But actually not just Dwayne Hughes, but also the other employees from the company who had a considerable amount of shares had been selling off their shares since past 1 or 2 months. But let's say this information was not so prominent, or it didn't come into the attention of the investors until now when the big news about CEO selling his shares came into the picture. And therefore, this might have created an extra panic, or the investors might have misinterpreted this as a bearish move, that CEO knows something which we as investors or retail investors don't know. Thus, the investors might have lost confidence in the company and might have also started the sell off. But guys, there is an important thing which investors should know, that insiders of many companies receives a big amount of shares as a salary, and as such, selling of these shares is not always a bearish signal. Not at all. And neither it also has to mean that the company's insider shareholders know something negative which we as retail investors don't know. So it could also simply mean that they are just in need of cash. And guys, retail investors like you and me who believe in value investment should be actually paying a closer look at the insider actions as well. Okay, sometimes you and me, or us retail investors, might not understand every aspect of what's going on in the company looking at the insider actions, except the people who runs the company. So in that case, it's okay not to understand, but just having a closer look. And based on this, so far, I can only think of a financial motive behind this massive sell-off from the employees of the company and the CEO. The second reason what I can think of is that the investors out there might have thought that this bubble around the EV industry is about to burst, or the hype is finally ending, seeing the decline in the stock price of Tesla as well, even after the battery day, and Nikola as well. So this might have created this panic sell-off. So this is the other reason what I can think of. But guys, if you would have seen my previous video regarding Workhorse, I have stated enough bullish points which shows what great of an investment Workhorse actually is. Now guys, I know that USPS contract plays an important role in the Workhorse short-term success. Yes, that's really important to know that this is just a short-term, let's say, trigger for the investors out there. Okay, anyway, so since we are talking about the USPS contract, this brings us to the second part of our video, which is discussing some update regarding the USPS contract. So there are some details coming out via some analysts out there who are predicting that the $6.3 billion contract might get modified to $8 billion contract, because the USPS contract actually initiated in 2015. So considering these 5 years and the inflation rate over these 5 years, plus some advancements in the EV industry, the current contract should be around $8 billion. And to be honest, guys, this could actually make things better for Workhorse, plus for those investors who are talking about or thinking that $6.3 billion being not enough for Workhorse to generate that profit margin because of their production and manufacturing costs. So this should smoothen up things for those investors as well out there, plus for Workhorse, of course. But guys, like I said before, I myself have not invested in Workhorse just based on this one USPS contract. Yes, USPS contract is a big thing and can turn the company's finance upside down. But guys, this is just a short-term catalyst, and I know that this doesn't sound really good for all those short-term investors out there. But guys, if you are thinking like me to hold workhorse for a longer time, then there are enough reasons to do so. And even if workhorse doesn't get this USPS contract, it still remains a really good investment because
the first point is Workhorse has delivered already 3 C-Series electric step vans to rider systems and electric vehicle fleet solutions and should start producing 5 vans per day. Yes guys, 5 vans per day in the fourth quarter for United Parcel Service or UPS, which has an order for about 1,000 vehicles. And the next bullish point is that if you guys are thinking that the last mile delivery market is small, then no guys, the good news is that this market is not small at all. Workhorse is disrupting the $18 billion per year market. US fleets are purchasing around 350,000 plus last mile delivery vehicles approximately every year. So guys, even though if they don't get this USPS contract, which I believe the chances are quite less, but even though if they don't get it, they still have a really big market to target. So guys, this next point is actually a bearish point, but this is one of the main concerns for many investors out there. And that's why I wanted to clarify this point in between the bullish points. And also this point correlates with our bullish points, which I'm going to discuss further. And this is what I would like to clarify, guys, that all the startups out there work on the same principle. Now, for example, even the biggest player in the EV industry, Tesla, also then make profit in its first 17 years. Now, this is not a direct comparison, guys, but I'm just trying to prove a point here that all the startups in the beginning are all about product development and establishing their place into the market, and this needs money. And this is what Workhorse is trying to do now, and I would say this is the right strategy, at least according to me. And if you talk about the revenue, well, here is your answer. So the first point, like we already discussed, that there is a huge market opportunity of around $18 billion. So I don't think that there will be a problem of source of revenue. Then Workhorse already clinched 2 key partnerships with rider systems like we already saw before, and which will offer the C-Series through its choice lease. So rider systems work with leasing the trucks and select your product lines as well as for short-term rentals, plus Hitachi. So the other partnership is with Hitachi, which will provide an operational assessment of Workhorse manufacturing and operational capabilities, while partner Hitachi Capital America will assist in developing a national dealer network and offer vehicle financing. Then, like we already know, that Workhorse will retain its 10% ownership stake in Lordstone Motors. And since we are talking about Lordstone Motors, well, Lordstone Motors has planned to release their first electric commercial pickup truck even before Tesla's Cybertruck and Rivian. And well, from this, how Workhorse will benefit? Well, Workhorse granted Lordstone Motors a license to the technology and design of the Workhorse W15 pickup truck, and in the beginning of August 2020, Lordstone already had 1.4 billion worth of pre-orders for this W15 pickup truck. And guys, not just that. Apart from owning 10% equity stake in Lordstone Motors, Workhorse also will receive a royalty fee for each electric pickup truck delivered by Lordstone Motors, which is around 1% of the gross sales price of the first 200,000 trucks. So if the average price of endurance truck is 45K, this should add up to $90 million for Workhorse. Now guys, you still have a question about their revenue? So even if Workhorse doesn't get the USPS contract, then Amazon and Walmart in the meanwhile have been testing drone delivery from fixed locations. And guess what guys? Workhorse has the only patent for drones taking off from trucks. And why Workhorse? Well, if compared to gas delivery truck, then gas delivery truck costs around $1 per mile to operate, while Workhorse truck cost only 36 cents per mile. The total cost of owning a Workhorse truck is around $134,000, whereas for a regular truck, it would cost around $304,000 over the 20 years. And that means a saving of $170,000 per truck over 20 years. And that's almost $10,000 per year. The best part is the return on your investment would be in just 3 years. Now, that does feel better, right? For the customer. And since we were talking about drones, well, using their drones, the cost would drop to just 4 cents per mile, guys. So the customer would be saving huge cost if they would use Workhorse complete package. That means the Workhorse truck plus their horsefly, the drone. So also Workhorse delivered the first horsefly drone to UPS already in 2017 and it's FAA approved. And guys, since we are talking about the USPS contract, what if they don't get the USPS contract, or what will be the future sources of revenue for Workhorse? We already saw there are a lot of opportunities for Workhorse to generate their revenue, but this is another really big news for Workhorse, which the CFO of Workhorse already revealed that they are working on engineering refrigerated trucks. Yes, due to interest from companies delivering groceries such as supermarkets, and the main big players targeted by Workhorse could be Walmart or Target. Now guys, if Workhorse can get into this market, then this is another really big source of revenue for Workhorse. So guys, according to me, Workhorse still stays a really good potential investment, and please mark my words, investment, not trading. So this is my analysis on Workhorse. Depending upon the current situation, my thesis has not changed regarding Workhorse whatsoever. I still consider Workhorse as a potential investment, and hereby I rest my case.
So that's it for today, guys. Bull or a bear? Well, ultimately it's your own decision. But I hope, guys, that this video will help you to decide who you want to be. So see you in the next one. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and ciao.